Okay, Fireside team, here we are to instruct you on how to set up and rig some of our lights that don't go out as often as I personally think that they should, but whenever you get them, it's a cool opportunity to work with some new lights. These are actually one of the first set of lights that we ever bought. These are under the stars lights. They're also known as Bliss lights. They come, in this case, 2 lights, 2 power adapters. These things are kind of a pain in the butt just because they are so big and clunky, but I'll show you how to best set those up. You're also going to get 2 clamps. These will come with you in your cable crates, maybe in your backpack, but just look for those. We're going to try and find a way soon here to probably bury these underneath the power adapters. So in the future, you might be able to find these. We'll take some of this foam out there and they'll be underneath the power adapters. But for now, they're going to be loose. So just get ready to keep track of them. Here's how those go on here. So you're going to take the fixture itself, and then I found it's best just to set it flat like this. You've got the hole right there. Just like any other fixture that you're attaching one of these 80J 1.5 inch clamps to, you're just going to take the wing nut and the washer off. You'll put that in there, and you will put the washer back over in between the wing nut and the fixture's yoke. And this is always a little tricky. I'm doing my best to get that. There we go. I finally got the threading there, and we've got it. It's great. So we're on. We're going to tighten that, make sure it's good to go. I always like to put this part at the back, so because it seems just a little bit clunkier, less for people to see out in the audience. This is the front of the fixture right there. This is where your LED display will come out of. The laser comes out of here as well. This is a cool effect light that creates a blue cloud, LED cloud up in the sky. We're almost always aiming this up at the ceiling of your venue. And then within that cloud, there's just all these little laser stars that are displayed there. So I can foresee us sending this out in a number of different ways, but probably the 3 most frequent ways that you're going to find it is with, first and foremost, with swarms. This is probably the best way for this to be sent out, and here's why. You've got your power output, so you can daisy chain power up here, which is just awesome because it keeps you from having to run a cube tap down here and then having to attach that super clunky power adapter into a cube tap. Now you can shove that power adapter, boom, right against that, and it's no big deal. So what I've done in this situation is, instead of having these kind of symmetric, I've actually just wiggled one side over a little bit so that it almost looks a little bit more symmetric. Like here's 1, but here's 2, and these are evenly taking up this side. Obviously, it's not going to look perfectly symmetric just because you have an odd number of fixtures, but just do your best to make it look not so, or to make it look like there is some intention there. So we're all set up as far as rigging. Now we're going to grab this. So I will say one thing. It's a very heavy adapter brick. This connection point right here is pretty fragile, so please do your best to not put all the weight of the brick on this cable. We've had this connection point come severed, and we had to buy some new ones of these. They're sillily pricey, expensive. So if you could just do your best to support it with your hand like this, that'd be awesome. So here's what you can do. You just set this in here, and you plug her in, and I typically, you'll feel when you plug it in, it pulls back a little bit. So I like to actually throw some gaffer's tape on there, just to totally secure it. So I'm just gonna grab a roll from the red backpack, and we'll just put a line of gaffer's tape on here, just to make sure it's not going anywhere throughout the night. And you can just probably go right here, hug it in tight. That way you can be very confident that this is not going to come out, and you might as well also throw one on like this too. You're on there. You're in. It looks clean. No one can see it from the front. It's great. All right. So we're rigged up. We're going to clean this up in just a minute after we test our actual fixture. I'm going to turn it on. This is a laser enabled device. So you want to be sure not to stare directly into the laser. These swarms also have a laser effect that is kind of up there right now. So same deal. You never want to look right to that aperture. That's why we put these on top of our speaker stands, so that they're less likely to be aiming into someone's eyes directly. But yeah, here we go. I'm going to turn off the lights in here real quick just to show you what the effect looks like. You can see there's this blue cloud. We're really close to the ceiling right now, so it's kind of a miniaturized version of this, but you can see how this would be very cool in a larger ceiling, higher ceiling venue with this blue LED cloud and the those laser stars moving in kind of like an offset pattern, which is really neat. So anyways, you get the idea. The effect that you want to have is you want it to splash and spread across as much of your ceiling as possible, preferably right on top of the dance floor. So look for those big open portions of the ceiling. All you have to do after that is, in my opinion, I usually just tuck this underneath here, kind of into this area. And then I'll throw one bungee ball onto right here. I'm gonna go grab that really quickly, just to maintain a clean cable run there. And I'll just tuck that down to there, give a little bit of excess, and keep that in there. That's pretty much it, guys. Just angle it, focus it so that it covers the ceiling. You'll be good. The one other thing that's important to note: there is an on-off switch. There also is this dial, and that controls how intense, how bright the LED cloud is. So you can see, if you turn it all the way down, there's no LED cloud at all. As I raise it up, it starts getting brighter and brighter. I, for one, love the LED cloud. I don't think I would ever send it in any other way other than just completely on. So unless the client says otherwise, or unless it's indicated otherwise in your event file, let's just keep it on full. That's it for this setup on the Swarms. Stand by, we're going to show you two other setups, one with the fun factors and the other one with just a stand by itself. All right, so here's our second sort of setup that you'll see pretty frequently. This will be with fun factor lights. Now here's where things get a little bit complicated because Fun Factor, or American DJ rather, decided to do this, interesting IEC daisy chain. So we cannot plug in this big beefy guy just directly into there. So what we're forced to do in this scenario is we'll send you guys with a shorter IEC instead of the normal 20-foot long one, because that will allow you to make a connection with a cube tap and a 25-foot extension cord at a much more convenient place. Instead of way down on the floor, it's a little bit closer to the top. So now you have to run your power with these guys in to your cube tap. Not fun. It's just not fun. So what we're going to try and do, honestly, guys, is we will do our best to send you with Swarms instead of Fun Factors on these whenever you're using the Bliss lights on weddings in particular, because now you've got like this kind of ridiculous scenario, right? It's not cool. I'm actually going to do this the opposite way. I'm going to do it hanging down like this, I think. Yeah, so the heavy weight is down. But yeah, it's just wild. I would recommend probably bringing this up just a little bit first, and then mounting this somewhere right here. And it's probably best to have your assistant help you in this scenario, just because this is a little bit tricky. But yeah, you'll want to put a bungee ball where on either side of the cube tap is going to be the best scenario, so it really secures this junction point together. And yeah, it obviously looks pretty ridiculous, but you're also going to want to bring these up, give them a little bit of slack. Again, that this junction point can become torn apart, so if you guys can really do your best to always remember to give it a little bit of slack so that it's not completely taut and there's not that crazy amount of pressure on there, that would be fantastic. But yeah, and then you'll just, once you get that secured, you'll work your way up as if you were on, any other event with these, in the same way, keeping the cables on the same side as you work your way up and keeping it nice and tight. We'll pull these tight, and there we go. Window bar. I can raise this all the way up just to give you a full idea of what this would look like. Cool. Nice. And then, yeah, you would just once again, work your way over just like you would normally, as if there weren't Bliss lights there. Tuck that in, and then we'll also send you with some extra bungee balls so that you can complete this run. Whoops. And you would just stow your excess, just like we did with the swarms. You can stow your excess up in here. You can turn them on. Bloop. Have my gaffer's tape up there. And turn on the other one. Bloop. Now, I'm just, you guys understand. We would do another set of bungee balls over here to make it nice and even. You get it. So, the one thing to keep in mind on the swarm video that we just made, I only set up one light on the side. You might have to set up 2 lights on the side of swarm lights as well. If that's the case, you will actually have to have a cube tap put into the back of that swarm light, because you're gonna have to have both of those bricks plugged into there. I'll be honest, the determining factor as to whether or not you have 2 up here or 1 is if the venue has a spot that makes sense for you to put another light stand somewhere else in the room to attach a single Bliss light, a single under the stars light. Because right now, as you can imagine, these are just kind of like, they're coming from the same spot, you know. They're not as spread out as they could be. You're not getting as much coverage as you could if you had a satellite light stand at another part of the room. So keep that in mind. But if a venue doesn't have, if you don't have the room for it, if you don't have the space, this is what you're going to want to do. Just set up 2 on your light stand, clean it up. Obviously, like I said, these last bungee balls, you know, you get the idea. I'm not doing it right now for time's sake, but you would clean everything up as best as you possibly could, like we always do, and then aim them in a way that spreads it out as much as it possibly can. Again, not the preferred way to do things, but if it's fun factors, if it has to be that way, this is how you guys have to do it. All right, see you in the next video. All right, so here's the scenario we're hoping to accomplish whenever we send out the Under the Stars Bliss lights. 2 lights, 2 your regular dance floor lights on top, and then your 1 Bliss light so that you've got coverage from the booth. And then you're hoping to get your other stand, whether it be a speaker stand or a light stand, either way it's fine, at some other point in the room. You know, maybe on the other side of the dance floor, against the wall, back behind a table where it's not in the way of people. But here's how you're going to clamp it to that. You do not need a T-bar when it comes to just 1 light. So we're just going to send you guys with a stand by itself, whether it's a speaker stand or a light stand. Really the only difference is the light stand can go a little bit taller. So you're going to set that there. Now, the idea is that if it is a light stand, it is going to go up tall enough that when you make this connection, it's not going to be able to reach to the ground. So in that case, I'll be honest, there's really not a fantastic way to do this, but what I've started doing is I've actually put this in here, and I will tape it in here so that it just lives here. I'll go ahead and just do that right now. If you're on a speaker stand, before I do that, you can just run this all the way to the ground. And let me raise it up. I just want to be 100% sure. There, you raise it to the top. It's going to go all the way to the ground. This is one case where you can just run right down the middle. You don't have to run down a leg, and you can connect just right there to your extension cord. So again, if it's a speaker stand like this one, just do that, easy peasy. If you're a light stand and you're going up a little bit higher, you won't be able to make that direct run without this, again, clunky box just kind of being hanging in the middle. So what I found to be best is you just put this here, set it in just right there on the wing nut and the bolt, and then kind of more or less just roll this up. You're going to bring the other side, the input through to the other side, and you will plug it in just as you would anywhere else. And then again, just for safety's sake, where did I put my gaffer's tape? There we go. Just for safety's sake, because again, this will be out in the field. There's going to be guests around it. You should put on, you know, a piece of gaffer's tape. Make sure that it's not just going over top of it, because that's not doing a whole lot, but it's actually, in fact, sticking to the power adapter unit itself. So now that is stuck to it. That should hold that in there without any problem. And then you're just going to run your power adapter. No need for the cube tap. Up and then into here. And let me wiggle it around a little bit so we can get access to it. Hello. There we go. So we're plugged in now. Now you can turn it on. You can have your Under the Stars effect. And then you'll raise her up. And you will focus however you need it to be focused. Now, the one thing about putting that power adapter in there, it does limit the amount that you can swivel back and forth. You can't go this way very much. So you just have to utilize, if you wanted to go this way, you just have to loosen this up, spin her around, and then lean it back, right? So just keep in mind, you do limit yourself from forward motion, but you still, you got any angle that you want because you can spin your speaker or your light stand. And then, of course, just like anything else, any other cable on any other stand, you're gonna do the same standard 5-point bungee ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I won't bore you with all that, but you guys know how to do it. That is it. This is, again, what we would feel like would be the optimal way to set it up. One at the booth, hitting the dance floor right over top, or at least one half of that dance floor, and one somewhere else in the dining reception area, hitting another portion. So you get that Under the Stars, really cool atmosphere mood throughout as much of the space as possible. All right, that's it. Enjoy.